right, we're back in session, and Mr. Jones, good afternoon. Would you introduce yourself, tell us your name and DOC number?
Lyle Jones, 381865.
All right, Mr. Jones, my name is Cheryl Renatza. Mr. Roche is seated to my left. Mr. Freeman is seated to my right. Let me ask your counsel to introduce themselves, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Castro with Warden today representing Mr. Jones. With me is Anna Lewis, the second student enrolled in the clinic, not certified under Reentry Rule 20. He did help Mr. Jones prepare for today's hearing. He also prepared the packet that was submitted to the committee in advance of this hearing. He is also prepared to make a statement of support. The conclusion of this hearing should the committee deem it appropriate.
Thank you, sir, and we will ask Ms. Lewis to do so. Let me acknowledge we have the Parole Project, I believe, has joined us. We have Mr. Jones' sister, Ms. Cassandra Bryant, and cousin Martina Dixon. Ms. Dixon has asked to speak on his behalf, and at the appropriate time, we'll ask her to do so. Let me just read some identifying information into the record, Mr. Jones, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Freeman. Your case has been assigned to him. Mr. Jones, you are classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a 40-year sentence for attempted first-degree murder in St. Lathrop Parish. Your parole eligibility date is July 27, 2023. You have a good time date, October 28, 2030. Full term is June 14, 2037. Does all that sound correct to you, Mr. Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Answer Mr. Freeman's questions, please.
Okay, Mr. Jones, how old are you?
I'm 44 years old, sir.
Okay, and how long have you served on this sentence?
26 years, sir.
Okay. Tell me what went on. Looks like it was just a random gang shooting. What was the deal? What was going on that day?
A bunch of kids with alcohol problems, drugs, substance abuse problems, and it was a retaliation under the act of Mr. Tejada influences. So he asked us to do a shooting, and we did it. And we were just a bunch of young kids that would have made a foolish mistake, sir.
Okay, so did y'all know the two people, the two ladies that you shot? Did y'all know them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How well did you know them?
From being around, going to dances, neighborhood dances, stuff like that, sir, we came to know them.
Okay, were they your intended targets?
No, sir.
Okay, who was the intended targets? The one y'all was trying to retaliate against?
Mark Reshaw, sir.
They innocent bystanders. They were just there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, you said you had a drug problem. How old were you when you started using drugs and alcohol?
About 14, sir.
What was your drug of choice?
Marijuana and heavy alcohol drinking.
And heavy alcohol. Have you received any treatment since you've been in prison?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what have you done? What kind of treatment have you received?
Fresh start, mind altering, anger management stuff. Classes in that from NOBTS, because it deals with a lot of spiritual programs to help me, as I needed help. I said,
Okay.
I needed.
Do you still consider yourself a drug addict or an alcoholic?
To be real with you, sir, I'm always be that, but I now have the help that help me understand the triggers of it.
That's correct. You will always be an alcoholic, so. You can revert back at any time. You need to use that help to stay away from. I'm looking at your juvenile record. You had a simple criminal damage to property. You were put on probation. You completed it. You had 2 counts of simple burglary, which you were put on probation. And then you were put in the Jetson for unauthorized use of a movable. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you received your full-time discharge in '96. Okay, the DA and the sheriff are opposed. Your family, Rodney Lazard is unopposed. Martina Dixon is unopposed. Okay. Okay, your criminal history dates back to '96. That's prior to after your juvenile. You had a distribution of cocaine and you received a full-time discharge on that. Looks like you've never been revoked. Is that correct?
I've been through reconsiderations, like for time cuts and stuff, and I spoke on different them terms there, sir. So I understand.
How many other classes have you taken?
About 26. I took a
About
number.
20. Okay. And the most you got was the drug classes and anger management, the 2 of your better classes, correct?
Yes, sir. And I'm enrolled in 2 classes now.
So you enrolled in right now?
Yes, sir.
What you enrolled in right now?
Victim impact and living in balance that the warden requested for me to take.
Okay. How much longer you got on those classes?
Maybe, I think, about 3 weeks.
Okay. Looking at your disciplinary history, it doesn't look like you've had a write-up since 16. You had another write-up, but it was expunged. What happened in 16 that made you change and you quit getting your disciplinary write-ups?
Well, it started with the rebuild in Angola, the rodeo arena. The Warden Kane had took a bunch of wanted to enforce rehabilitation on a bunch of inmates. Wanted to enforce, and that's where it started at. So I had a hard time accepting it, but now I know I can't keep on making this mistake that I'm making. I made 8 at the age of 18. So.
Being in balance phase. Okay, what would be your transition plan?
My transition would be, I would love to go to a halfway house to actually get some help or understanding of how technology and stuff is having to change out there. So it would help me be a productive person as a citizen out there on the street.
Yeah, so that's through the parole project? Is that correct, Mr. Myers?
Yes, sir. He would be a client of Parole Project should he be granted.
Will he be living with y'all in housing or it's gonna be outpatient?
No, he will be with us. He will complete phase 1 in our residential program.
Okay, and I'm sure he'll get all of the basic needs that they normally get.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Tell me this, Mr. Jones, what's gonna be your sobriety plan? How you gonna not ever drink again? What are you gonna do?
I'm currently with Pastor Greg, and he have a refinery mission. And he want me more involved with that to help kids understand, see my mistake and try to live there so they don't take the same path as I did.
Okay, I understand that, but how you gonna keep yourself from drinking? What are you gonna do?
Stay away from alcohol, sir.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not attend any AA, NA, stuff like that?
AA meetings. I'm planning on with AA meeting and giving back to my community and stuff like, and I have people in place to help me with that stuff.
Okay. You have several letters from different people. You're a low risk, low need. Why'd you lose so much good time?
Because I was having a problem with the disciplinary at the time. At that time, I was having a disciplinary act at the time, but that wasn't the road for me to take. So I had to straighten that up.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions I have, Mr.
All
Meyer.
right, thank you. Warden, is there any add?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Renats. I guess I really ought to speak against Lyle because he's one of my better carpenters around here, so I kind of hate to lose him. But I won't do that. No, in all seriousness, Lyle is, I think he's a perfect example of a young man that was brought up in a rough life and got caught up in the world of drugs and alcohol. Did some things that he obviously regrets now. He had a hard time when he first became incarcerated with authority, but has corrected that over the years. He's become a model inmate. He's one of my good carpenters. He works hard around here. He's taken numerous self-help programs and classes. Very proud of him for that. I believe he deserves an opportunity. I believe he can succeed. As he mentioned earlier, he is enrolled currently in phase 2 of our Living in Balance program and also our victim impact. I'd like to see him complete both those things prior to his release, and he will be able to do that prior to his eligibility date. But
All right,
very well.
good, thank you, sir. All right, we'll hear now from supporters. First, we'd like to hear from the Parole Project.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Kerry Myers with Parole Project here to say that Mr. Jones is a client of Parole Project. He does have a singularly unique plan after leaving Parole Project. As he mentioned earlier, he will work with the refinery mission in the Opelousas area, not as a resident, but through their program as an outpatient. I'd say through the refinery is geared towards substance abuse and recovery. That is their main focus. So once he completes our program, our residential program, he will go there. You can look at Mr. Jones's accomplishments, the classes that he's taken, not only both vocational, he's got an OSHA 10 and a carpentry skill. He's got OSHA 10 safety certification. He's taken nurturing parenting and fathers. He's taken anger management, living in balance. His parole eligibility date is July 27th. So he will complete the programs he's currently enrolled in, should the board grant him today. His disciplinary record you can see the significant difference in the last 7 years in his disciplinary record. And we believe that Mr. Jones is an excellent candidate for our program and for success.
All right, thank you, sir. And Miss Martina Dixon.
Good afternoon. My name is Martina Dixon. I am Lyle's cousin. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the consideration. I feel that Lyle has learned. He and I are the same age. And at that time, he was very reckless, very foolish, and hard-headed. And I feel that he has learned within all of this time period. I've just from holding conversations with him. his demeanor, everything has changed. I feel he's mature and he's learned from his mistakes. He has a connection with my youngest daughter. Her father was not there for her, but he has been there. Telephone calls, the mails. I'm very proud of him and what he has become. And I ask that you all consider his accomplishments from what he has done while he has been incarcerated and the time that he has served. That you please allow him to give him a chance to make what was wrong make right. Give him another chance with society.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your remarks.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Jones, before we ask Ms. Lewis to close it out for us, is there anything you'd like to say?
That I'm sorry for what I did, but Ms. Renee said, but I just need a second chance to at least I'm lost in words, Ms. Renee.
All right, that's okay. I understand. Ms. Lewis, you want to close it out for us?
Yes. I just wanted to reiterate what's been said today. As the warden said, he started off with a rough upbringing and acted foolish. You know, when he was 18 years old, he made a mistake. But he's no longer that 18-year-old. He was a follower then. He found the gang as a place to fit in because that was something he was lacking in life at that time. But now he is no longer a follower. He is actually a leader in this community, in his prison community. He's very regretful and realizes the seriousness of his crime and the harm he's caused the victims, and he's taking full responsibility. While incarcerated, he's completed all programming that he could through Page of Rage, Nurturing Parenting, Mind-Altering Substances. He's addressed the substance abuse problem. He's even taught and interned with Interfaith Prison Ministries, teaching some of these topics as well. He's also highly skilled in carpentry. He has his OSHA 10 certification, which will allow him to be successful on the outside as well. He does have an employment plan as well. I know we didn't talk about that yet, but he does have a job lined up with La Familia Trucking Company, and they're eager to have him on board as well. He truly is rehabilitated. He has a low Tiger score and has shown institutional compliance, especially through the last 5-10 years. He has ready to transition to society. Will continue to take initiative to better himself on the outside if released. So for all those reasons, we ask that this honorable committee consider granting his parole. Thank you.
Thank you. Good presentation. All right, I think we're prepared to vote, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Jones, you've done very well. You've done everything you could. Warden's comments were excellent on you. So my vote is to grant you conditional on completing living in balance and victim impact. Upon release, you're to attend the parole project, 3 AA meetings a week, and electronic monitoring for the first 6 months with a curfew of 9 to 3.
9 to 3.
Yes. 9 to 3.
9 to 6.
9 to 6.
Yeah, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Okay. All right, Mr. Roche.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Based on the positive remarks of Warden Lyle, my vote is the same, under the same conditions before and after release as Mr. Freeman's.
All right, Mr. Jones, you know, I listened carefully to what the Warden said about you. He doesn't want you to go, so I'm thinking really hard about my vote. I'm impressed with you haven't had a high court write-up in I think I counted 22 years. That's impressive. I was impressed by the remarks by the warden. You have a really good transition program through the parole project and the refinery mission. You have a job. You have a low risk, so my vote today is also to grant after you complete those programs. You've got time to do that before your parole date. Good luck to you, sir. You've been granted parole.